Do you want to learn how to read an electrical wiring diagram? Watch the video until the end, and you will know how to understand and use it in industry and industrial machines. An electrical wiring diagram can be as long as 100 pages, detailing all the electrical connections within a control cabinet of a large factory or plant. Wiring diagrams can vary based on the standards of the country in which they are used. In this video, we'll be working with symbols based on the IEC standards, which are widely used in many countries for electrical schematics and diagrams. The layout of these diagrams can vary depending on the company and the specific designer creating them. They may also be created using various ECAD software, such as ePlan or AutoCAD Electrical. Here's how a schematic looks in ePlan, here in C Electrical. In our company, we use SolidWorks electrical software. In this video, we will analyze an electrical schematic page by page and compare it with the 3D model of a real control cabinet. This will help you understand which symbols correspond to actual electrical components and devices, as well as how the markings appear on both the schematic and the cabinet. The presented electrical schematic is drawn for industrial machine, specifically a pallet wrapper. It is a type of a multi-line diagram which is often used in industrial machinery. This document consists of 28 pages, but we will review only a few of them since the rest are quite similar. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, leave a like on this video and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest content on industrial automation and robotics. On our channel you will find plenty of helpful videos that will help you to get started in this field. Every wiring diagram contains hardware components, power sources, ground connections, terminals, wires of course, along with numbers, letters, and possibly some specific nomenclature. Typically, the first step in learning how to read a wiring diagram is getting familiar with the equipment symbols. For a quick reference to the symbols, you can see the symbol for a three-phase AC electric motor here. This is a symbol for a solenoid valve. This is a symbol for a contactor. And this is the coil, and these are the contacts. Alright, let's begin with the first page to see how easy it can be to read and understand a wiring diagram. First of all, there is a general guideline in standard wiring diagrams that you should read the diagram from left to right and from top down, exactly like reading a book. However, designers may, from time to time, make exceptions to ensure better clarity or functionality as seen on this page. In this case, we need to begin from the bottom, where the three-phase power enters the control cabinet. Just a quick reminder, the voltage level and power frequency are determined by the country where the project is being implemented. In Europe, the standard voltage level is typically 230 volts for single-phase systems and 400 volts for three-phase systems, with a frequency of 50 Hz. Therefore, when implementing our project, we need to ensure compatibility with these standards. The supply voltage is connected to the terminal block labeled as X1. A terminal strip is a set of terminal blocks grouped together, typically used for connecting and organizing multiple electrical wires. Each block in the strip allows for the secure connection of conductors, and the entire strip often shares a common voltage level or function within a system. Terminal strips help streamline wiring and improve organization in electrical control cabinets. In our 3D model of the control cabinet, there is a terminal strip with labeled connections, indicating multiple electrical conductors connected to terminal blocks. The terminals are labeled with common designations. These typically represent the three phases L1, L2, L3. The neutral wire N, and the protective earth PE, which are essential for connecting power in a three-phase system. Here we have the label for this terminal block. You will find the assigned function F1, the location A1, and the designation of the element X1. If you want to learn more about how these labels for functions and locations on the machine work, I've prepared another video for you, which will appear in the card in the top right corner of this video. From these terminal blocks, we move on to the next component, a disconnecting isolating device, labeled as Q1, which separates the system from the power supply. This ensures the system can be safely disconnected when needed. It's look like this in our 3D control cabinet. Directly from the terminal strip, the three phases L1, L2, L3 are connected to Q1 device. After isolation, the power is routed through the circuit breaker Q2, which provides both thermal and short circuit protection for the system. This setup ensures proper power distribution and protection before the current continues to other components in the control cabinet. If you want access to resources on reading electrical schematics and programming in automation and robotics, sign up for a newsletter below the video. We run an e-learning platform where you can master programming and dive into many other key topics in automation and robotics. Don't miss out, join us at controlbyte.tech and start learning today. Another general guideline is that wiring diagrams are typically drawn in a neutral state, meaning all contacts, contactors, circuit breakers, and other components are shown in their normal non-energized condition. After closing this circuit breaker, the power flows to the power terminal strips, from which various branches supply other devices. In this schematic, power is distributed to components such as miniature circuit breakers, F1, F2, and F3, electronical thermostat, K6, and the motor M6. These devices rely on the proper routing of power from the terminal strips to operate effectively. As you may have observed, there are numbers on the wires. These are referred to as wire tags. Wire tags are extremely useful for troubleshooting. If a wire becomes disconnected, you can quickly reference the wiring diagram to determine where it should be reconnected. Tags are also used for devices within the control cabinet. If you are looking at the wiring diagram and don't recognize a device, you can locate it in the control cabinet by referencing its tag. For example, in the wiring diagram, the Siemens Dynamics VFD is labeled as equal F3 minus T1, and you can easily find it in the control cabinet using this tag, as shown in the 3D model of the control cabinet. You may have also noticed the protective grounded circuit and its branches. Before we move on to the next page, you might be wondering what these numbers at the top of the page represent. What are these numbers for? That's a great question. These are the column numbers, and they divide each page of the drawing into 10 columns for easier reference. As you can see, each column contains some devices, and we can use these column numbers along with the page number to reference different devices, contacts, terminal blocks, and more on other pages. For example, the main three-phase power is indicated by arrows and numbers at the top of the page. All of the arrows have the number 07 -1 just beside them, indicating the connection to other pages. The number 07 directs us to page 7, while the 1 indicates the first column on that page. And there it is. Our power source is located on the page number 7 as indicated in the schematic. Here's another example for you. The number below this contact shows page 8, the same page where the contact is located, and column 5 as illustrated in the schematic. The same tag K1 is used here as well. This means that these are the auxiliary contacts of the K1 contactor. It appears to be a coil, but it's not a regular contactor coil. It's the coil of a safety contactor. And how can I guess that? In this drawing, K1 refers to a safety contactor as shown on the part list page. Below the K1 coil, you can see the contacts, including those on page 5, as well as the other NO and NC contacts of this relay. The red numbers indicate where these contacts are used in this drawing, along with their corresponding addresses for easy reference. On page 7, the mains power source is supplying a 24 volts power supply, labeled G1, which delivers a voltage of 24 volts DC with a capacity of 10 amps. Starting from that point, the voltage is distributed through terminal blocks, allowing us to supply power to various devices such as PLCs, IoT gateways, inverters, and any other equipment that requires 24 volts to operate. In the highlighted areas, you can see the Wagon terminal blocks labeled as X2 and X3, which are used to distribute the 24 volts DC power. The voltage is transferred to these terminal blocks, allowing it to be further routed to various devices and components that require 24 volts for operation. From the X2 terminal block, the 24 volts potential is distributed to a device located on page 8 and connected in column 1. Did you notice that we have to get back and forth between different pages? This is the only way we have to take to fully understand this drawing. On this page, there's a safety relay, which is designed to protect people, equipment, and the machine itself during operation. Keep in mind that the designer of this wiring diagram had to reference the equipment's datasheet to properly finish the job. The relay receives input from two switches: S1 safety switch, which controls the safety circuit, and S2 reset switch, used for resetting the system. The relay outputs are connected to contactors K1 and K2, which manage the operation of the safety system. Let's stop here for now, and in future videos we'll dive into reading and understanding the PLC, VFD, and their power and signal wiring. I hope you are looking forward to the upcoming parts of this series. If so, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of the next videos. Thank you for watching.